In a world of divisiveness, we bring you diversity. In a world of hate, we bring you love. In a world of fear, we inspire you to live. And now, laughing, loving, and alive with your hosts Rhayne Thomas, Elmer J. Howard, and Dr. Kevin.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Laughing, Loving, and Alive. I'm Rhayne Thomas.
Hi, Rhayne. I'm Dr. Kevin.
That must leave him as
Elmer.
Oh, this is starting off great.
Hey, they always say that rain makes the flowers grow. So, and I'm such a delicate flower, I figured that I should be Rhayne.
Okay, you know what? That's so weird you say that because I have a friend that is watching. He's saying he's trying to watch right now. He's the only person in my life that has ever called me a delicate flower. And he lives in Scottsdale. He's the one who took care of me, him and his sister, when I was going through my treatments. Very strange that you would say that.
Yeah, I specialize in strange. You haven't figured that out yet?
I have. It's by association of, the guy who didn't get me a t-shirt. But that's a different bitterness and a different show.
Now remember, this is Laughing, Loving, and Alive. Bitterness on the other show, the After Midnight show.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Kevin, I'm sorry.
We weren't live. We are live now on Facebook.
Okay.
Hello. Facebook.
Do we have to say hello all over again?
You don't have to. We can. Facebook, this is our first time out. So we started without you. Where were you? Facebook, where were you?
I want to know because I still don't see us live on Facebook.
And we've been live for 1 minute now on Facebook.
Okay, what is it under? Is it still under us?
Laughing, Loving, and Alive, yeah.
All right, you know what, Elmer, I know you're a prankster, so I'm going to look again. Make sure you're saying your word is true.
Yeah, so ask your friend to see, because it's not showing up on my phone either.
He said he doesn't see it.
I have one. Someone's viewing it right now, so.
Yes, now it says video saved, but I don't see it.
Two people are viewing it now.
I know. Well, you know what? Let's get down then, since two people are viewing and it's not me or Dr. It's fabulous.
So she had a cute little stand, huh? Does she stand like this?
It was the other way.
This?
It was like that, except for she had on like a pink top.
Oh,
yeah. You know.
I could have worn pink had I known.
It's okay. You'll wear pink next time.
Yeah, probably.
We're live again on Facebook.
We're live again.
I still don't
see Facebook. Where did you go?
That's what my friend said. They said, "Where did you guys go?" I said, "I don't see us either."
Facebook. It says you're seeing us again, so we want to welcome you once again to our first.
There we are.
And there we go on Laughing, Loving, and Alive with Rhayne Thomas, Elmer Howard, and
Dr. Kevin.
Oh, sorry. Hate it when that happens. Oh well. Anyways, so we want to welcome you to the first of many opportunities to hang out with the three of us and talk about Laughing, Loving.
Right now. He's the only person in my life.
Oh, hold on, sorry.
Boy, we are we are quite the bunch. I love.
So remember, the first part of the show, the first part of the name of the show is Laughing. And we want you to join us in laughing.
Dr. Stephen Dietz, I was actually talking about you in that clip that now is being dubbed over the internet as a viral sensation. Oh, this can't get any better.
Yeah, well, but it will. And I think that the best thing for us to do is role model the importance of laughter by being able to laugh at life, because this is what happens. Life happens. Technology doesn't always work the way you want it. Stuff doesn't always show up when you need it, but you always get it when you actually needed it. You just thought you needed it some other time.
Dr. Kevin, I thought we said we weren't going to like do all of these kind of mind benders at the beginning of the show. Here we go again. Oh my goodness, what is that? I think
Elmer, do I have to check my liquor cabinet? Am I going to start marking the bottles when you're down here?
I'm like, okay, I thought we said everybody had to be sober when
Well,
we did this.
So I'm trying to, people are commenting. I'm trying to pull up the comments, but when I pull up the comments, there's a delay before what we're doing and what's going live. So when I pull up the comments, I'm hearing what we said before and trying to read the comments so we can, so if there's questions or stuff. But, so I don't know if that's gonna be possible now without me
How will
having.
it be possible? You know everything about technology. I trust you. So can we go ahead and just start chit-chatting about stuff?
You know, what, you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
what was the basis of the show? You know, maybe we can talk about.
Well, since you're showing that uplifting bra you're wearing, why don't you go ahead and tell us about Loving Martin? Get it started, and then we can chime in.
So when people were wondering, why did we start this podcast? You know, why did we come up with the name and whatnot? Well, way back in 2018, I was producing and directing a short film called Loving Martin, and Rhayne Thomas auditioned for one of our roles, and she was the easiest cast. As soon as we saw her, we were both like, we love her, we want her, she's in. There was just no question about it. And so she came out to Phoenix and did a fabulous job on the film. And just 4 months ago, was it? You were thinking about, the movie. Yeah, you were thinking about the movie, and you were thinking about, life, especially now under the quarantine, what life was like. And you had mentioned how laughing around the water cooler, or complaining to your friends in a more of a releasing kind of way, and laughing with your friends and all that stuff kind of went out the window in these last few years and stuff. And so you wanted to do something different, and so we came up with the idea of a podcast. And of course I said, well, we have to bring in Dr. Kevin then to be on this podcast.
I'm glad. I'm
talking about the cat that's up in the tree behind you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So it took us a few months, but we are finally live with our first show.
And we're finally alive with our first show.
And well, the show hasn't finished yet. So unless you're in a prophecy, we're hopefully going to be alive by the end of the first show.
Oh, I know my side is aching already, laughing at all the stuff that's happening right now with us. So I know, going forward, this is going to be so fun. And I believe we're going to change the outlook of a lot of people and a lot of different situations. That's what I believe. That's what we're here to do, right? Maybe.
I think we're here to invite people to choose to be in a different place if the place that they're in isn't working for them.
I like what DR period in front of a name just does for a guy. I love that. So eloquently, just perfect.
But all you can ever do is you can invite somebody to expand a reality. You can invite somebody to you can invite somebody to your sandbox, and either they're going to play well, or they're going to storm off, or they're not going to come in, or they're going to kick sand in your face. And then you get to do that, that very extended, long 4-letter word, set boundaries, and say, it's not okay. Not in my sandbox. It's a sandbox. It's not a kitty litter box. Don't litter here.
I love it. And I'm glad you said that, because people don't realize that they need boundaries. I mean, I grew up in a background where I had to have boundaries because people would eat you alive. But I think people are so bent on, I can change someone. They don't realize you can't change someone or their perspective unless they want to and they're open-minded. Sandbox.
again, you invite them to consider life or a situation differently,
Right.
and that changes them. But you're
Right.
still just the inviter.
Right.
It depends on how eloquent your invitation is.
Or if the people know what a sandbox is.
Well, all the kitty lovers do.
Yes, but remember we had sandboxes as kids? Remember that? And everybody got in with the little plastic shovels, and it was in the back of the comic book with the Jack LaLanne on the beach, and they kicked sand in your face, and you went and bought this video. And remember that? I digress.
So, I found something because, my idea was for each of us to talk a little bit about why we wanted to do the show. And I know that you guys both started with Loving Martin as your initial connection. And then Elmer, who at this point we go way back at this point, we'll just put it, we'll leave it there. We'll drop scintillating hints along the way. But and then obviously introduced you to me. And for those of you who don't know it, I've had a weekly radio show for 15 years now, the Dr. Kevin Show. And I was like, when Elmer first approached me, I was like, I realized very quickly with especially the whole COVID thing, what an essential service I was, working with my clients and teaching classes. And I had a goal this year to get 6 new books out. And that was my goal. And so, with that, I was like, I don't have the time. I don't have, and he's like, well, I said, I'll be open. It's Elmer. I'm always going to stay open to anything Elmer proposes. And then he introduced me to Rhayne, knowing that it was over. I would never be able to say no to this woman. Look at that face. I was like, okay, we got to figure out the time it's going to work, but I'll do it. I'll do it.
I'm glad because, it's been an honor working on this project with you and Elmer. And, I just think we have a really good chemistry. We're kind of like a reverse Oreo cookie.
There you go. Hey, Oreo cookies actually were one of the little things that was an important clue last night in a movie that Elmer and I were watching. Elmer's down here this weekend visiting me and my husband. And both Elmer and I had seen a movie called Love, Simon, which is a great movie. Have you
seen it? I've seen it. I have.
But Jeff had not seen it, so we decided to watch it last night. But there's a whole thing about the Oreo cookie.
The Halloween Oreo cookies.
Yep.
So Rhayne, that's the type of movie I want to do. saw that movie. I sent it to Brett. I said, you got to watch this. I mean, this is the type of movies we got to do.
I love it. I'm in. Well, I don't know if this is an invitation, but I'm in. And because my friends.
Well, I could see you playing the drama teacher.
Oh yeah. Hello. I've got drama teacher glasses in the room. Any color, whatever you tell me, it's magical.
I think one of the things is that we can use this show for too, is sharing the things. And we're going to have a lot of guests. You're just not going to come in twice a month and listen to the three of us prattle, no matter how well we do it. It may be fabulous prattle, but we're going to have guests that they're going to bring in different things associated with laughing and loving and being alive, but also that we're out there actively seeking out these kind of things, and we want to share it with you because guess what? There's no problem finding bad news. There's no problem finding, in your face, bitter, rude, challenging divisiveness, like we say in the beginning. It's out there in spades. But we want to bring you the hearts and the diamonds and the clubs that all got left behind. So we may be, between the three of us, a couple of cards short of a full deck. I'm not sure.
Only a couple of?
You know, like Francis Ford couple.
Couple. How old do you have to be to appreciate that joke?
I don't know. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, tell us, you know who we're talking about. You know, go ahead, make me feel old.
And anybody watching on Facebook Live, if you want to interact with us, it would be easier to do it through the Zoom link. You can come in as an attendee, and that way you could ask questions through the Q&A. Because apparently when I try to go and look at comments on Facebook, I start broadcasting 3 minutes ago of the show.
Oh,
Well,
gosh. We'll figure it out, right?
I've
Yeah.
got it on my phone.
Can you see the comments without the video playing?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. So then okay, Kevin, now you're in charge of any Facebook questions this show then.
Yep.
Well, there you have it.
Well, all I've done is I've just put the sound on mute.
Well, I turned mine on mute, but I guess maybe I have to turn the volume down too. So
Yeah, I
actually,
turned
when
the volume
I'm at home, I have 2 computers, and I can mute my other computer and have it up. But I'm at Kevin's and limited resources. We actually talked about. I said, Kevin, should I be down there, you know, and just do it from your office with you? But it's like I knew there was a lot of technical pieces, and I needed to be in front of the computer, so we decided to split us up.
Yeah, I
Well-
think that's probably good too, because I can see this going downhill.
Well, you know, the other problem is I just don't look pretty in the rash I break out in when the technology goes like Hickey that's standing beside me. It's like poison ivy. I just want to go, just work.
I understand that. Trust me, I've had I had to put the television commercial stuff together. They mailed it to me. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're kidding me. I'm like, who are they mailing this to? But you know, you figure it out and you laugh about it, or at least I laughed about it, and you know, got it done.
Yep. So I found a list that we're in the laughter portion of the segment, clearly, as we keep laughing and hopefully making other people laugh or inviting them to join us in laughter. And so I did a little don't plan on this happening every show, just so you know. Keep your expectations low. But I found something that was a list of 11 reasons why laughter is good for you, and I thought I would share that.
Can I give you the go?
So, yeah.
My new kazoo, my birthday kazoo.
That's intense.
I feel like I should be flipping the pages of like Horton Hears a Who or something.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
I wait with bated breath, which means I'm sure there's something fishy about it.
There's something very fishy. I got a million of them. I'll be here next week. How old are we getting?
I don't know, but if you show up, if you show up for the next show and my chair's empty, you know, that's how old I got.
Well, let's not have that happen, because next week's guest would love to fill in for you, and we can't have that.
Oh, okay.
And it's not next week. It's
Oh yeah, the week
28th.
after.
It's the 28th.
This is some powerful water.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what she tells us. But I did say it was something fishy. There'd be something fishy about it.
Oh, I love that.
Something fishy about it, you know?
Can you do me a favor when I come out there? This is definitely off to the side. I want to go fishing so badly. If you find someone who has like the fishing boat and they go out and catch like 500-pound tuna or something, you know, can you hook me up? I really want to do that. That's something I've wanted to do for a long time. Even though one of my friends is going to have me go to Nebraska, I want to do it in New England, where, you know, my heart is.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin's in Nashua, New Hampshire. You know that, right?
That too. New Hampshire, Vermont,
I'm up in Maine. He's in New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's fine. Any of the New England corridor up there, which is where my heart lives. It's lived there since I was a little girl. So
Yeah, I can ask around when we have a date that you're going to arrive and say, I used to know people, but but I've got a couple people I can call. And if worse comes to worse, I always have fish nets.
you know what? I don't want to. What are your 11 top things? Because I already know where this is going. So, what are those 11? Let's.
Okay. So laughter is a sign of goodwill towards others.
Mhm.
So it helps you make connection. Laughter may reduce your blood pressure. There's been a lot of things that people that laugh, it actually brings your blood pressure down. Supports a healthy heart through reduced artery inflammation and increased production of good cholesterol. Another
I like that.
study that they've done. Yep.
Yeah.
Laughter can reduce anxiety and other negative emotions.
Okay.
Laughter is an immune booster. That one I'm preaching all the time, but yeah, it boosts your immune system. Laughter may act as a natural antidepressant.
I know for a fact.
Yep, so do I. You breathe better after laughing. When you have a good belly laugh, you actually oxygenate better afterwards. You can take more air in, and so it gives you overall better energy and better functioning. Laughter is good for your cardiovascular system. Laughter calms stress hormones. So social laughter can relieve pain. So if you're in pain and you're laughing, you're less. And it's so funny because people will be like, "Oh, don't make me laugh. I'm in pain." But unless the pain is made worse by the laughter, like if you have stitches, then it's not such a good idea. But actually, if you go into laughter, your pain level goes down. Or what
do they mean by social laughing?
Versus antisocial laughing.
I saw that coming. Elmer, you walked right into that.
In a set of cinch heels. Anyway.
The fishnets.
And last but not least, and a favorite of mine on this list, I just, this was just a list I found. Laughing burns calories.
Let's get to it. I'm in. Let's get to it.
Shake, 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 shake. Shake that booty. Shake your booty. Oh, so, what do you think of our laughter list? All the reasons why you guys want to be laughing.
I think that's clever. Is that something that you wrote down, or I mean, where'd that list come from? What if people want a copy of that so they can remember to laugh?
I will put the link to the article that I found it on.
Put it as a comment under this show.
Under a comment under this show. And it came from, I'm not going to tell you at the top of my head where it came from, but I will find it again and I will put the link under, because that's what I do on my show when I find good things, is I just put the link under so people can follow it through. So It will be there.
So I realize we don't have any outro music. So Rhayne, you've been volunteered to play your kazoo and play us out at the end of the show.
Oh, what do you want to hear?
But it's not the end of the show. Right? This show's we're doing the show for an hour, right?
I said when the show ends.
Okay.
Oh,
we still got 30 minutes. Yes, we still got 30 minutes. So I want off now. 30 minutes is enough.
I was practicing. Listening skills on a podcast.
On that note, I'm just checking to see if anybody has posted anything, and nobody has posted anything new yet, but please feel free to come to Laughing, Loving, and Alive.
Yeah, I just sent a message to a couple of people.
And if you are watching this on the taped version of the podcast, because you didn't get to actually see it while we were live, you guys can still post a comment and we will review these comments. And if there are a question or something, we can still bring them on air. So don't feel like, I wasn't available at 10:15 Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday night, but I really enjoyed the show. You can still post that. You got a question, you can still post it. We'll see it. And on our next show, we'll say, hey, I'm glad you liked it. And then, of course, if you say something mean, after I dry my eyes and I stop crying, I'll delete the post, and that's okay too.
You are so funny. Did you see my friend Andy Jackson asking about my prunes?
Is it on the Laughing, Loving, and Alive?
It is. Andy, yes, I will bring prunes at some point because people, prunes are sexy. So, and people laugh when I talk about the prunes, but it's good for you. Something else that's good for you. I'm sure Dr. Kevin has an article about prunes.
There we go.
There's Kim. Hi, Kim.
My article about prunes. I love. There we go. And I am trying to get this because for some reason it's now started. My prunes will be here soon. There you go.
See? I'm getting the hang of this thing.
Yep.
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Isn't that the
Depends
same?
on the dog.
Yep.
Woof.
I had clicked into it by a comment that somebody had made, and I realized it got stuck there, so I had to reset it.
Oh.
So now I know.
He dropped the ball. He had one job. One job.
Excuse me, who came up with the list? Who wrote the introduction for the show?
You did.
Where's our outro?
Andy says tech savvy. Just so you know, Andy's like a superstar photographer. And I met Andy. I can't even remember because I want to say I met him at the Rocket Boys Festival, but I met him at the Mayberry Days, the Andy Griffith Show Festival, or I might have met him at all of those. But Andy's a super talented guy, and some of his work is like, he's got a sharp sense of humor too. And he's on the East Coast with you guys.
Where are you at? Where are you from, Andy, on the East Coast? And if you're that fabulous of a photographer, can you make me look good? I mean, I know it's a hard job, but I'm open.
Don't get him started. He's in Williamsburg, I believe.
Isn't that Pennsylvania?
No, Williamsburg, Virginia.
I used to live in Williamsburg.
Historical.
Yeah, I used to live there.
Really, but my husband, we used to live in Virginia because that's where he's from. And Williamsburg is one of my favorite places too. I absolutely love it there. What is Andy saying? He said, when am I coming back to the East Coast? Hey, Andy, I'm coming back as soon as Elmer and Dr. Kevin get me on that wild tuna fishing show. So I could reel in my big catch. Okay, I got to tell you a secret about Andy. This is a laughing, loving, alive thing. And Andy, you can type it in if I am not telling the story correctly because I don't remember the details. I just remember you were in a plane crash and you walked away. Now that I remember.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
he replies, I'm looking and you're looking. We're not looking at the screen for the people that are taping us. We're not looking at the phone.
Look at our phones.
Okay. You think we're all sitting at a restaurant having dinner together?
I wish I could go for some scallops and some crab legs or something, some steamers. That sounds good.
Swam away.
Swam away. You swam away.
That's even more impressive. I mean, he got out in one piece. I don't remember if he walked or swam or he did the electric boogie. I just know he got out of a plane crash and I was like, whoa.
Hey, good for you. Good for you. I bet that had a
oh gosh.
What?
What, Dr. Kevin?
No, I was going to say, I bet that was a moment in which being alive and living took on a whole new meaning.
And he just said, just celebrated 6 years alive.
Oh, that's awesome.
You're a little small, but you look a little older than 6. Oh, sorry.
He's a very bright student. Andy, I'm proud of you.
Life-changing. Absolutely. That's the kind of... Yeah, so have either of you had a near-death experience?
I lived with you once.
Now this I want to hear. Inquiring minds would like to hear this story, I declare.
That's how I ended up in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Really?
Elmer, when I moved my business out to Phoenix, Elmer used to work for me. And I moved Elmer out to Phoenix with me. I let all the rest of my staff go. Remember, we got rid of everybody else.
Yep.
And I took the two cats and Elmer, and we went to Phoenix. I'd gone to Phoenix over Labor Day weekend with my best friend. Looked at like 8 houses, bought the 7th house on the spot, went back to New England and announced to my client practice and my employees and everybody that I was closing the business down as of December and moving it to Phoenix. Boom, done.
And that's near death. You guys have a weird kind of,
That's his
I'm missing
idea of a
something.
near death.
Well, then I had to move in with him and live with him. That was the near-death experience.
Okay, is this something you could tell on the air that we don't have to like, somebody won't be calling me from like LAPD or the Phoenix Metro or something asking me questions like how well do I know what happened? Is there a third person that's missing that I need to know about?
So Rhayne, this is why, because I've actually had a near-death experience, seriously. Elmer was attempting humor, and what that tells you is Elmer's near-death experience of living with me was because he was always 2 steps away from me killing him.
Now that I could understand.
That was his near-death experience.
That I could understand. I don't, it's funny because I think my whole life growing up was a near-death experience. I come from a really bizarre family. So I'm not sure how near I have or haven't been to death over the years. I know I've been very close to homicide. That's a different story as well. And hi, Jenna. That she's dialed in. She's an amazing vocalist. Oh my goodness. She's in Michigan, hosts her own show. She's fabulous. We gotta get her on at some point. She's fabulous. You really like her, talking about laughing, loving, and alive. Just awesome. But near death, I've had a couple, and here's why I don't know if they're near death, because I walked away unscarred. How do you know what's near death? How do you know you were really going to die?
Well, I guess maybe if you thought you were going to die.
Well, let me see. I coded, I was on the table, I saw my body, and I watched them work on me.
That's near death for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that one qualifies.
That definitely qualifies.
Yeah. And and one other time they lost me and they had to bring me back. 2 separate occasions, 2 separate ages.
Wow. Yeah, that's near death. I mean, I think, like I said, growing up in my background, I never thought I would die in the things that happened. I just assumed they were part of, because I've been in like several shootouts. I've been in a couple of stabbings and been robbed at gunpoint, gun at mouth, been thrown out of a 2nd-story window, unscarred. I mean, so I never thought I was going to die. I just thought I need to get away from here.
Yeah. I mean, I had a couple of different occasions when I was in my late teens, early 20s, of getting like jumped in an alley and gay bashed and, threatened, but
That's horrible.
But, it was, it's very interesting because I remember in this alley, I can to this day tell you exactly where I was in the combat zone in Boston. It was 1977. And I was there and I had 2 guys holding me and one was in front of me and they were like, yelling things and stuff like this. And I said, there are 3 of you, you will take me down, but I will take down 2 of you with me and you will never get up again. And they took
Good for you.
And they looked in my eyes and they took one look at me and I was so calm. They actually let me go and walked away.
Because that was the sign of a maniac inside.
Yeah. So it was.
Wow.
But yeah, I never called that a near-death experience. Well, except maybe it was for them. They came very close.
Right. Like I said, you're on the homicide side or you're on the like near-death side. Elmer, have you had one other than Kevin almost killing you in Phoenix?
No, I've done stuff that could have led to death, but never like a near-death
Oh
experience.
gosh.
When I was younger, I was very, very carefree, so to speak.
We all were.
So, yeah, you do stupid things, like almost fall off a train and you're holding on one hand and you look to your left and there's the train wheel right at your hip that you almost, get cut in half by hanging off a trestle over over waterfalls with one hand and things like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm from the Bronx. We didn't have trestles and I wasn't going to hang off the subway. Inside where the people were was dangerous enough. There was no way I was going to hang out with the rest of the whack jobs there.
Rhayne, I'm disappointed. You never wore trestles?
My life is one big trestle, darling. Again, aging. By the time this show is over in 6 months, everybody's going to be like Rip Van Winkle. Does anybody even know who that is, right?
I know who it is. So we've been doing a lot with laughter. I'd like to move on to loving for a few minutes.
Go for it.
So we just had an anniversary on June 12th. Do you guys, and it's called Loving Day. It's the Loving Day anniversary. You guys know what that is?
What, didn't that used to be called Orgy Day?
No.
I got that I'm in the wrong.
On June 12th in 1967, the Supreme Court banned all states from making interracial marriages illegal. And it was Loving versus the state of Virginia.
Right.
Yep. And so June 12th, which is just a couple of days ago, is the anniversary. And it's called Loving Day because it's a celebration marking, the end of interracial marriage being illegal.
Well, you know what? I just tagged my longtime friend from like elementary, junior, high school, and his name is Jesse James Loving Jr. because his family is the Loving family from Virginia.
Oh,
wow.
So I just tagged him. I don't know if he's up. He's probably at work, or if he's not at work, he might be asleep. But he's watching. He just tuned in.
And Andy said he just read about that.
Yeah. See, you never know who I know. I told you I'm a wealth of information to be 30-ish.
Ish. Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Christopher Ishwood. Ish. But yeah, I mean, it was fascinating when because the couple went into DC to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And they went back to Virginia, and then in the middle of the night, 3 or 4 days after they were home, the police broke in the middle of the night and told them that they would either be thrown in jail, or they had to stop doing what they were doing was illegal,
Yep.
or they would have to leave the state for 25 years.
Yep.
They chose to leave the state, but
I know, crazy.
She took it up. And and I thought, how perfect. We're starting this right after Loving Day, the Loving Day, anniversary, that laughter, loving, and being alive. And I was like, this is just perfect. But it reminded me of something, and I'm going to turn this question back to you guys, which was a pivotal book for me when I was a teenager that I read when I was dealing with a lot of the sexuality issues. And it was called The Lord Won't Mind. And in it, one of the characters, her quote was, "If it be love, the Lord won't mind." And it's a book by Gordon Merrick, and it's about it's a 4-book series about a gay love affair, about a gay couple and falling in love. And the book was written in the 70s. But I always remembered, if it be love, the Lord won't mind, always stayed with me. And that was a very pivotal moment for me in my head of, if it's love, the Lord won't mind. Doesn't make any difference what anybody else thinks. And it always stayed with me. Was there a pivotal book about loving that changed both of your lives towards loving that you can think of?
I want to say hi to my niece, India is watching.
Oh.
I
Hey.
see a lot of friends watching. Hey, Joy. Hey, Phil. Hey, Hey, Jesse James Jr. We were just talking about you. You know that. We're talking about the Lovings.
For me, it wouldn't be a book. I don't read usually, unless it's a script. Unless it's a script.
People.
Why do you think I make films?
That's fine. As long as I'm in your film, I don't need to be in your book. I don't care about.
But there were some films that definitely made me. I remember, actually, I asked you this, Kevin. We were in Phoenix shortly after we moved out, and it was a gay movie. I don't remember the name of it, but there was a couple that was together. They separated. One got sick and was dying, and they get back together to take this road trip. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
And I remember looking after the movie. I looked at you and said, "Does that kind of love really exist?" And because I never had seen it or experienced it, so I was just really curious. It was like, is that what love really looks like? And I think that's an experience that kind of changed my view, because you were like, yes, that can exist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, I remember that. I wish I could remember the name of the movie. It may come to me before.
It might be called The Trip. It might be something as simple as that. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
While we're all on our phones.
How about
Well, mine wasn't a book, and I know this sounds silly, but like I said, I come from a background where love didn't really exist. Like, it existed in a twisted way, that narcissistic, just that crazy, if you love me, you would do this, with so my first,
obsession?
yes, you exactly, and I realized when I thought the one movie where I was like, does love like this exist, was Snoopy Come Home. Do you remember that? And he left, and Charlie Brown and the whole gang cried. And I thought, how could something like that affect you so deeply? Snoopy, and they cried. I cried as a kid. My family teased me, it says weak. There's no, it's just a cartoon. But, looking back, it wasn't just a cartoon. I have so many friends that I love, and I know they love me, and even some strangers, love it. That was life changing. It reminds me of Snoopy Come Home, because when something happens to them, I ache just like they ache. It makes me sad when they're sad. I'm thrilled when they're thrilled. Yeah, that it was definitely Snoopy Come Home. And what was I, like 4 or 5 then?
And
Yep.
This is why I want to make films. I want to have this kind of impact on people.
You already do. That's why this podcast, I live my life like this, being the change I want to see in the world. But this podcast is here because I've watched Loving Martin several times, and I never really watched me in it. I just watched the interactions and the things that happened that aren't very obvious and very specific. Because when he cried, when I had to break the news to him, I've had to tell somebody that before. And it's,
well, if you remember, we you coming into that at the door, we did quite a few takes on that, because I wasn't getting the emotion from you. And I actually asked you, I says, Rhayne, have you ever had to tell somebody in your work about, dying of cancer, or someone who had died of cancer? And you're like, yes. I'm like, tap into that. And you did. And that was the performance that we put into the film.
Yeah, it's tough, and to tell someone that their loved one has been murdered, or someone breaking that news to you, it's horrendous, So yes, that I think you've touched the Snoopy Come Home mark for me.
So Andy has a question for you. Are you still doing the Rocket Boys Festival? Because he wants to go to bed.
Andy, the Rocket Boys Festival ended a couple of years ago, as per Homer, which I hope I can get Homer on here, but I think it was a 10-year run, and then they were done with it. We still do some other things. Check the Rocket Boys site. You can just punch in Rocket Boys. I think it's rocketboysfestival.com or something like that. And if there's anything new and interesting, because of course this year, with COVID and the quarantine, there's not a whole lot going on, but check there. And you can always send me a message, but I know, now I know your bedtime is, what is it, 10:15 or 10:40 or 10:30 or something?
10:50.
Well, I appreciate you being on there and listening, that's great. But that's where we are. Sorry.
So, well, and to our viewers that are our viewers, listeners here, if you've had a book or a movie or a cartoon or something that touched you and gave you a different view of what it meant to love, to be loved, to be loving, to that did a shift in you, please feel free to share it, because you know I think that people are always looking for ways to do that. I'll tell you, one of the what I thought was really great movies was Somewhere in Time, where the love crossed lifetimes,
Mm-hmm.
and that the souls still sought each other out, and that always stayed with me as well as something that was very powerful.
I love it. You want to know what else is powerful? I can't believe I didn't tell you guys this. So tomorrow is my official birthday, but it's also National and International Prunes Are Sexy Day on Chase calendar. So anyone who does any kind of fundraiser and donates anything to a breast cancer event or a cancer event, a 10% will go to Prunes Are Sexy breast cancer stuff. It's official holiday. It's actually on your calendar. It should be on there this year or next year. I own it. I'm it. Can you believe it?
Nice.
I can believe it. You can get anything done you want to, and it's in this conversation on my radio show this week, when I did my hot topic, which is always something that either gets me hot under the collar or warms the cockles of my heart, and sometimes does a little bit of both.
I love the cockles on your heart.
Yeah, is that I was talking about for both Pride Month and all the stuff going on with the Black Lives Matters movement right now, how important it was if we could just get everybody to listen to each other's story. And that in listening to each other's story, and I get to promote the radio, this show tonight, but
Of course.
listening of each other's story, that if we would stop letting the divisiveness up here in the world keep them as them, and we sat back and we open-hearted listened to the stories, we would find why them are us, and all of the things that we have in common, and that we need to be telling our stories in a way that doesn't attack or accuse or make defensive, but in a way that this is just my story, and let other people know how many themes we all have in common, how much more alike we are. And one of the ways that we're alike is we all want to love, we all want to be loved, we all want to be loving. In us, in deep, we find something to nurture. Maybe it's our cat, but we find we have this drive to nurture, unless you're a psychotic that,
Well, that was where I was going. My family was psychotic and they didn't have any of those things. They had no interests. They loved drama. And if something was blatantly black and everybody agreed it was black, somebody would say it was a different color so you could get it going. And then when that person agreed, the other person would disagree. And they kept that. That was their idea of love. Now, and I don't think everybody has that based on my background.
Well, no, everybody has a desire for what they see as love, but that wiring can get shorted.
Yeah.
And we, and I see this all the time in my practice where, who teaches you to love? Well, the first people to teach you to love is your parents. And if your parents teach you to love by yelling at you, you think yelling is love. If they,
right.
It goes on, and you have to have a dysfunctional, abusive love relationship with love and the people you love is something else, as the song goes, that must be carefully taught. That song out of South Pacific, and about that we carefully teach our children to hate
right.
people we hate, because we must be carefully taught, because you don't come in that way.
Right, right. I agree. And that's why I wanted this to happen. We come from three different places. And and I know it's unrealistic to think that the whole world should get along like the old Coca-Cola commercial. But I would really like that. And I'm going to do my part while I am on this earth to make that happen. You can hear it, right? I'd like to teach the world to sing. Remember that?
Take harmony.
That's the one. But I hope I'm doing my part by doing things like this with you guys, because I've always learned from, I mean, he's had to teach me how to turn on telephone. And then you show up in the podcast in a spaceship background, and I'm fascinated. And there's always something new and fun with you guys.
Yeah, actually, because I'm not at home, what I should have done, and because I had, choose the white background is, well, I don't have the spaceship on this computer. This is my other laptop, but I can, I was going to put up my favorite city, but apparently I have to download that too. Do you know where my favorite city is, Rhayne, in the US?
Your favorite city in the US? I'm going to say New York City because I'm from there, but there's San Francisco.
There you go.
I was going to say, you look like a West Coast guy. You know my favorite city? You know my favorite place in the entire world? The Hamptons.
Really?
Yes, since I was a kid. When I got my driver's license so that I could drive to the Hamptons and spend weekends there. I absolutely love the Hamptons. I even have a bracelet with the coordinates on it. It's my favorite place, hands down.
Favorite place I've been so far is Hawaii. That's where I would live if I could.
Oh boy, you and the next guest in 2 weeks, you're gonna get along famously. I'm the only person that I liked Hawaii. I'm not an island girl. I am truly I'm a Montreal girl. I love Montreal.
I enjoy Montreal too, yeah.
Oh, I love Montreal. And like I said, I love the Hamptons. I love New England. My heart lives in New England corridor, just everywhere. The New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, that whole area, it just lives there.
So one of the people I would like to actually get on the show has tuned in and is watching. I want to say
that?
Rhona.
Hi, Rhona.
Hi, Rhona.
Her name is Rhona. She was a showgirl.
And Rhona, she's a New York City girl as well, and a Broadway baby. But she was the co-host on my TV, on my TV show, Dragons, Unicorns, and Other Creative Creatures that we had. I think we had it for almost 2 years. Rhona, you can chime in because I had Web of Light, I think, for 3 years and Dragons for 2 years. But we would, it was a show that was by, for, and about arts and artists of any kind to just promote the arts. And Rhona is a fabulous writer and has several books out, and she's funny. And anyways, but I'm hoping we'll get her on the show sometime. And she just tuned in, so I wanted to say hello to her. And
tell her to call me. I know we're getting low on time, but give her my information. Tell her to call me.
I will hook the two of you up via email.
I love it. Excellent.
Yep.
See, so now I'm in Hawaii, so yeah, my hair's blowing.
Now we moved to Hawaii.
Oh, I can't wait until the folks that I know see this.
So, Rhayne, we only have 2 minutes left. So, Rhayne, why don't you talk about our guest in 2 weeks?
Scott Hill. Oh, wait till you meet him. That guy's known as the world's biggest liar. You talking about people getting stuff done. He's like my best buddy. I mean, he put my career back on the map right in West Virginia. Can't wait till you talk to him. He knows a lot about a lot of things. He's just, okay, what is this? I need Dramamine for this show. What is going on? Elmer's standing on his head in Hawaii. He's not even drowning in the ocean. But you're going to love Scott Hill. He's a super great guy, super fun. He can tell you a lot of things. And like his son is is a mascot, a professional mascot for a hockey team. I mean, he's got some amazing stories. So I'm not going to talk to him when he comes in 2 weeks. I'm going to let you guys talk to him, especially since Hawaii is his favorite place in the world. Oh,
I love Hawaii.
Wow. He'll love that. Him and his wife, Kathy What the Hill, who used to be a roller derby girl.
I did
Oh,
roller
I love
derby.
roller derby. That's my only sport.
I broke my ankle. That's why I had to stop.
What, doing the upside down turns?
No, roller derby.
Oh, I
used
thought, I was like, how'd you break your ankle in an image? What? I was like, God, you guys are whippy.
No, I used to play roller derby till I broke my ankle.
Oh my God, I think something happened with her shoulder. She was a beast. You'll love them. They're awesome people.
What
I'm
team
the only
did you play
person who
on?
doesn't have a background.
Do you know? Do you know what team she played on?
You'll have to ask him when he comes on. I can't remember. I have pictures I can upload of her.
Yeah,
She's like a crazy beast.
I used to follow literally. I wrote one of my books watching roller derby. I would sit there and I'd watch them do the laps, and then when they go to commercial, I'd mute it and I'd type and I'd work on the book and work on the book and work on the book, and then I'd stop it when I would watch the jam, and then that's how I wrote my book, Managing the Gift, which is my book on ADD. So it was perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect for ADD. I love it.
We're over time, so Rhayne, why don't you play us out?
All right, this is perfect, you guys. I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Take it home, you two.
Let it shine, let it shine. Elmer, you're leaving me here you're leaving me out here on the beach alone. What are you doing?
Behind the camera and not in front of
Just
you.
hit the let it shine, Elmer.
Let it shine.
Yay!